4 o'clock.
Let's do this. This hopefully might be even a short meeting.
Okay?
Hey, everybody. Hey, so August secretary volunteer, you know something, I will do this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I can too, but I will be here next month too, so.
You'll be here next month too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be here for, probably, okay. So, July minutes. Everybody get a chance to take a look at them?
Yes, I saw them.
Motion to approve?
I have I have an amendment just in the spelling of Ann Rude.
Okay.
R-O-O-D,
I think it is R-O-D, R-O-O-D.
yeah,
Okay.
and Ann with an E, so, but that's the only thing. And then there was a blank here. Julie Hancock moved to approve the June blank minutes, and he left it blank, so.
Whatever date was on June.
What was the
Oh.
last minute?
I've got it
June
here.
17th minute, okay?
Okay. Alan, did you get those,
Amendments?
amendments?
Yeah, should I make those and re-email that out, or do I need to do anything with that?
I don't think you have to re-email them out, but I think we should make sure that Danae gets them in the, office, because they post them online, don't they, Dave? Yeah, they get posted online.
So we want to correct them before she votes.
Yeah, so he's gonna, you just correct them and you don't have to resend them. I mean, I don't think so, do you?
No, then just put them in the,
Just send them to Danae.
oh, okay.
It's deputy clerk at Red Lodge, City of Red Lodge or something like that.
And Chelsea's there too now, by the way.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey Chelsea, how you doing?
What, Chelsea?
Hey Chelsea. Good to see
Hi
you.
guys.
Good to
Sorry, I
see you.
couldn't,
Oh,
sorry I couldn't be there in person. Just got done cleaning houses, so I figured you'd probably prefer not to sit next to me.
Well, thank you for being here, not in person. Okay, so I'm gonna be the August secretary. Public comment? No public comment. Let's move on. Old business, review of current and potential city, it should be grants, F. And I think this is Alan.
Sure.
Where are we at?
All right. Let's see. Couple weeks ago, I presented the Sustainability Board's input to the Resort Tax Committee meeting. And I hear that they were well received by those in attendance and that they are working on how to make it potentially happen in their budget. Just technical stuff there, and reminder that was mostly EV charging focused. 3K to replace the broken and old chargers, 1K to stencil paint EV parking only, and 5K for anticipated grant match for solar car park,
Okay,
solar
John, hold on,
carport there.
Alan. Alan, you gotta slow down a minute, because I'm trying to take notes,
Trying to
and I
wrap
think
my
I
head
know
around
this.
all that.
And I think I
Sure.
know this, but I'd like you to slow down. The EV charging grants, there's a number of different ones. Go ahead. What's one?
Sure. I don't know if we need the details, but it was a presentation to the Resort Tax Committee. And
Right.
they are, if I understand, they're actually going to finalize their budget recommendations in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. And the Arts Guild is discussing how it may impact them. They're discussing that internally, and I expect to hear back with any input of theirs in a week or so. And so
Okay,
that was the first
Alan,
thing.
Alan, a question. You did meet, back to the Arts Guild, you did meet with the Arts Guild and
Yes.
presented the idea, carport type solar something. Is that correct? It could be either a solar carport or a solar picnic area that would serve both the EV chargers and the public restroom?
Most likely, it would be a solar carport, and there would be a few solar panels on the restroom's roof.
You you know how many panels that would take?
Let's see. I think about 8 on the restrooms roof, and shooting from the hip here, about 22 or so on the solar carport.
Okay,
So the
perfect.
panels on the restrooms also for the cars or for lights in the bathroom?
No, I think the panels on the restroom would be for, operating the restroom.
The lights?
Is it just for the lights?
What else?
What else is electric in the
In the
public
restroom?
restroom?
Oh, I don't know. It's about 2,200 kilowatt hours per year. It's not a huge amount.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So solar carport, they're working on potentially, this is the resort tax people, potentially, doing the match funding, I believe.
Yeah.
And it would be for, the solar car park,
Yeah,
solar
carport.
port, sorry, I can't read my writing. A few solar panels on the public restroom, and, would it be also for replacing 3 out of 4 of those EV chargers, or replacing any
Yeah.
of them?
Yeah, replacing 3 out of the 4.
The notes are up behind you if you're interested.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay. And, replace old EV chargers, 3K. Then, I'm looking at up here, oh, and stencil paint, EV parking only, okay. Which will work maybe in 3 seasons.
That's
a lot of money.
Doesn't that sound like a lot?
It won't be that much.
Okay.
Go high.
That's if you hired out somebody else to come and do it, blah, 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 not if we do it.
Okay. And, then grant match for the solar, yeah, and the grant match. Okay. Okay,
Who's designing the carport?
yeah, I think Alan met with the Art Skills, and they were looking at, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, but I think they were looking at I think the Art Skills was looking at some sort of a design for the car port. Okay. Is that right, Alan?
Well, I presented it to them, and they were discussing their input. And before they get back to us, I can tell you that the potential benefits that they may see would be basically cleaning up the area a bit, and drawing more foot traffic after they park their EVs into the Arts Guild. Attracting more people passing through to come in and shop is a priority of theirs. One concern they had would be how it might block the view potentially. And some ideas that we discussed were getting the carport up high enough off the ground, 12 feet or whatever, so that it didn't obstruct any views, and making it slightly angled to the east so that if you were standing to the east, it would kind of not be blocking the view because it's kind of set at the angle of the line of sight. But anyway, they're going to discuss at their upcoming board meeting in August and get back to us so that we can present the feedback to the city.
That's great, with Art Skills. You know what?
RV people do it.
With a carport over the EV chargers, I think that's gonna make it a lot more distinctive, that this is what they are,
Yeah.
and Red Rock should be real proud of that,
Yeah.
real proud of that.
I think it'll look good, it'll attract people.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right,
that would be good.
right. Okay. Thanks,
Uh,
thanks, Alan.
Sure thing. I got a
Anything
couple
else?
more updates. Yeah, sure.
Great.
So the Parks Board, we've been batting on ideas for the next round of Arbor Day Foundation grant application, which is in mid-January. And long story short, we're working on a presentation for the to the Parks Board, and I'll get back to you guys next month on feedback and whatever version 2.0 or whatever that we're on. The third topic
Okay.
of potential grants is we're still waiting to hear back from the Montana DEQ on funding for a feasibility study for a microgrid the last I heard back from Kyla Mackey was maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. They're discussing it internally, and long story short, they have 1.5 million in earmarked funds, and they're discussing internally how it can be used for technical assistance to include feasibility study. And Chelsea Tupin, who I think is on the line, has volunteered to represent that idea to City Council. Thank you, Chelsea. If and when that idea we move forward with that, and if there's funding for it, and that's it. Can I give a couple updates on old business quickly?
Of course.
All right, the CPRG update that we talked about so much in the last year or so, it was sour grapes. Only 1 out of 6 applications to the EPA was accepted. And kind of surprisingly to me, Montana only got half of what they asked for. And so I say sour grapes because even if Red Lodge had come up with an ambitious application, it seems that the numbers would have been stacked against us. But what Montana did get from the EPA was $50 million for forest management, urban forests, putting out coal seam fires, and fertilizer and ranch land optimization, I guess. So anyway, there's that. And lastly, I don't know if we got this update at the last meeting, but my last little update is that the Red Lodge is, yes, it is still officially a tree city and has been for over 25 years. So go Red Lodge.
What, a 58?
A 50-year, for how many years? 25 years?
28.
Over 25 years that we've been an official tree city, and that's per the Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay. And I think I volunteered last month to do something with the paper and, maybe take a picture of a tree and just say something, and I have not done that. So let me go back and let me do that, okay? Because usually if we just have a picture of maybe one of the trees we planted or a beautiful tree somewhere, and then just write a small paragraph, they'll put it in the paper, in the Carbon County News.
You have a tree in mind?
So, got a tree in mind?
No?
There's some nice ones over in the soccer fields.
They're pretty big.
There's some really nice ones that we planted over there, if I do say so myself.
Yes, I think so. There's a nice oak over there.
Since I planted a couple trees over there. So, yeah, I will do that. I apologize. Yeah, that's my bad. Okay, moving on. Reusable bag committee update.
No update, we'll wait till we get the bags from public, and I think we'll wait till after. And then,
You haven't received any bags from Republic?
no,
Did you make a request for bags?
we just talked to him last time, and he said he would get them, so.
We might have to nudge you.
Yeah, maybe I'll get his contact information.
Okay.
And
I might
think-
have that, and I know Dave does.
Okay. Okay, I think maybe after Labor Day would be a good time to.
Sure.
Since we really are encouraging locals, the Republic representative said he can get us a lot of, useful bags.
Oh,
So at some point, Mary Dellen and I said we set up a table at IGA, lots of companies keep sign or something.
Too bad we don't have them for the fun run.
Well, we could, I was, didn't really look at a little table.
thought about that too.
Are you guys gonna have a, tent at the thing at home?
Oh, I think they let us, even if we don't, we're not a nonprofit, but I bet
They let
us
you
have
pay.
pay.
I think they'd let us have a table if we wanted to have a table. Well, let me know if you get on top of that,
Yeah.
because otherwise, I'm volunteering, everybody's volunteering.
Yeah, I'm setting up with CCRC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
At 7, I sent Steve to go set up.
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm
But
doing
I'm
that.
gonna show up later than that and just sit, I'm gonna sit there, I'm not gonna. Most years I've taken photos or videos, the winners, and you gotta catch them and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
get them in front of the moose and get the picture and move on, and you know.
Let somebody else do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plenty of young people out there.
Exactly.
In my next year.
exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this board, whether or not we'd want to table what we're doing, why not? Talk
What have
about-
you got?
Oh, bags. Oh. Have you saw the bags?
Oh,
Yeah, good.
oh, man, we still have a ton of
We
these
still have
bags.
these.
Thank you.
So, and then we've got a lot at, in the shed, of
Make
course,
them
of
answer
the
a
other
question
kind.
before they.
The other kind.
give them
These are nice.
These are really nice, these are like special supplies.
Okay, let's not just, let's think of an occasion.
Yeah, I
Do
think
you want
so
me to
too.
continue storing them until that point then?
Would you mind,
Yeah, unless-
do you have a place where I
You
don't
saw
have
how
to get
quickly I
a you?
used, pardon?
Do you have a place
Mm-hmm.
so that I don't
You saw
have,
how quickly I got
Yeah,
them?
send
I know,
somebody.
are they up in your
Oh,
office?
so you don't have to talk to me? Is that what she said?
Well, you know, I would ask
We could put them in
Dave,
the shed too, but
we could.
we could put them with the others in the shed.
Do you want us to just get them out of your hair?
No, they're just up in that back corner.
That's
office.
Okay, that's good.
Do you want me to hold them?
Yes, that'd be
Thank
good, that'd be good.
That'd be great. Okay, good. Yeah, yeah,
But you're
yeah.
gonna keep yours?
I'm gonna keep
I love
mine.
these, I love
I
them.
lost my last one.
gave
I don't know where it
I
was.
gave mine away.
Replaced.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, so what have we got? A couple dozen in there at least, maybe?
Look like at
Um,
least, yeah.
Still
Five dozen, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
So
super.
never special something of the others.
All right, people, if you need one of these bags, David's got them. Just so you know.
We could do a little contest, you know, like, have them, people answer a quiz, and make it a real easy quiz to answer. But full of information, like,
Well, maybe for some sort of event. I know I was giving Dave a hard time, but, I was approached by the community, Red Lodge area community.
form.
No, not the
Foundation? The foundation?
foundation, for that F word, thank you.
I have an idea for those bags. I'm not sure if it would help, but we could tie it into the recycling center. For anyone who gets a new membership, they get a free bag, something like that, because I know that we're trying to encourage memberships, and I know it's not much, but it's something.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think that's a great
That's a
idea.
very good idea.
Recycling center, new bag for
And they also
new,
have some of the green ones that say Red Lodge Recycle,
yeah,
which they have.
okay, that's super, we need all the ideas we can get. You know, anyway, so that's great, and we can start, I think it was Chelsea, who said we should start looking at, some of the vacation rentals and the people that manage those, and we could be putting those out or making
Yeah.
those available to those folks, especially if they say Red Lodge Recycling.
Right.
I think, you know, that's
And
good
honest-
PR for our town.
Yeah. And honestly, we have a ton of folks constantly reaching out for information on the recycling center, our guests, because we don't have the time to go and collect. But I mean, I send the information. I have a full page in in our guest books, just saying where you can find the recycling center, when the hours are, what they take, those types of items. It might be nice to have these bags, and then we could even do like a little laminated tag with information on the recycling center.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Because
Recycle Red Lodge, right?
Because people come in from out of state or out of town or something, and it's an expectation.
Yeah.
It is.
And I don't know how many people I walk the alleys with my dog, and I don't know how many people I've helped open our bear cans, because they're tough
Mhm.
to open. So, you know, it's one of the a couple of the little particularities of our town that we need to kind of make amenable to our visitors.
And one thing I think that would be nice for the recycling center and just short-term rentals on a whole, it's something that I've pitched at Public Works, and I think here as well, but creating some sort of ID card that can go into those vacation rentals. So people that are staying there, because the homeowners are paying for, sorry, I live by a highway.
Oh, okay, so we can't hear anything.
Yeah,
I mean-
sorry about that. A motorcycle just went by and again, my office is currently under construction. So my deck is my office right now. Um, but if we could get some sort of ID badge that could go into the properties, so then guests of those properties, because folks that are staying at those homes are still paying for the recycling fee. Now those guests aren't getting charged and they can use that when they go to actually recycle.
Oh, okay.
It'd be like copies of the person's payment stuff, yeah, that would be
Yeah,
very good too.
That's a great idea. Let's pursue that because,
Yeah,
you don't want folks to take advantage of it, but, it's like,
you want them to use it.
but we do want, but people, and recycling is an expectation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great idea. Okay. And might be our recycling center update on number 3 under old business. Anything else on the recycling center? Oh, I do have something under recycling center. And I don't know, maybe Chelsea or Dave can help with this, but we're kind of hoping that in the budget, that there is gonna be, and I know that there was a lot of things that had to happen before the drive-through came around, but I know we had to move the fence. Well, first of all, we had to get the property figured out, with the property line figured out with Yellowstone, the sanctuary, and then we had to, possibly, I don't know if the fence is gonna get moved or whatever, but for those of us who go and recycle, it's a traffic nightmare out there. It really is. So I'm hoping that that's still in the works, and I'm gonna put it on the agenda
I agree.
every
Yeah.
month.
Totally. We gotta get
I'm
that
gonna, is that okay? I mean,
Yeah,
you guys know anything about it?
So, yeah, the land is in the process of being recorded still, so that's there. This is the first time hearing it from this side, but I knew we had an awareness of it and have been trying to open up that space. Chad has a concern that even as we do open that space, it's still scary and woefully inadequate for a safe recycling center, but we're also, as we approach the contract next year, part of the conversation and discussions with getting trash onto these monthly utility bills rather than taxes is that we're going to be able to offer some differentiation between services there. And part of that conversation is also curbside recycling that we're looking at, which would eliminate the need for that.
If people could choose one or the other.
So like right now, some people have big cans and some people have small cans,
Oh, they do?
but they pay the same price.
Oh.
And in the new world, I could say, I want a small can price or I want a big can price.
Great.
So what we're trying to do is being able to offer different services depending on what people have.
Yeah, great.
The recycling, the feel is it's going to, and the guy at Great West is very much into recycling and keeping stuff out of the landfill. So I said, those conversations are next year. As soon as we get budget done, we can start worrying about next year's stuff, but we've already started to have some of those conversations in the abstract, so.
Well, I know there's revitalized, the talk about a transfer station, and a number of years ago, we did talk about that. You may or may not remember that, Dave. But, we talked about a transfer station. My only hesitation about a transfer station is, what about the people here who cannot get their stuff to the transfer
Well,
station?
and my understanding is I have not heard them talk favorably of a transfer station.
Republicans not in favor of that.
And the problem we have right now is that's what our recycling center is just a
Right.
limited transfer
Right.
station.
Yes, it is.
And so that's what we're trying to do is figure out how to not have that.
Okay. It's like a step backwards to go from having a garbage picked up to taking that somewhere.
Well, we've got a lot of senior
Mayors.
citizens and people that, just can't get there.
No.
Just can't get there and can't get their stuff there. They don't have transportation or whatever, and that's what my concern is
Yeah.
there. Okay. All right, status of city's EV chargers. Actually, I think we've kind of talked about it. Because only one is working, and that's the one that we fixed you know, from all the wonderful private donations last year. So,
Is a priority, Mom.
anyway. One thing, okay, we also talked about, well, now we're on new business, resort tax committee update. We already had that, which is super. Hope we're gonna move through this. And the last thing is sustainability board's, 24-25 budget. But before we do that, I'd like to back this up a minute. Yay, Joy, how are you doing?
Am I late?
No worries. I'd like to back this up a minute, and we did have, sit up here, fun. We did have, a budget from last year that we wanted to donate, for the solar panels at the recycling center. We needed $1,700, and we said we'd give our $1,000 budget, and Mike was gonna look for the additional $700. I haven't pursued that. I don't know what's going on with that. Is there, when we budgeted, it was for 23-24, and we didn't use it. And so we said, well, let's just use it for the solar panels, the match of the solar panels at the recycling center. But I don't know.
If it exists, we weren't sure it existed.
Yeah, I don't know how that works in the scheme of things.
So the first part I may have been blinking and focused on, but I think you're talking about just the recycling match? Or the solar panels match, I'm sorry?
The solar panel match at the recycling center was $1,700 was what the city had to come up with. And, and we had $1,000 in our budget,
So-
wherever that was, and we didn't use it, so we said we would donate that to, for $1,000 of the $1,700 that the city would have to match for, the grant for the solar panels at the recycling center.
So all of that is, and part of this is a byproduct of Alan's presentation. We were trying to look at how to figure where to put things, and particularly that the list that I showed you earlier when my screen was projecting about the EV stations and stuff.
Yep.
Part of the problem is there's not a line item in the budget that says EV stations. Here's the money coming in, here's the money coming out. So, and we get some, because there was like $400 in collection donations on those the other day when they collected those. But right now, we actually just pay for them out of streetlights. But the decision was made as we were looking about how do we do this and how do we, so right now, like the lights in Lions Park get paid for out of parks as a line item. The maintenance for the restrooms gets paid for as parks. So that's kind of the encompassing budget. So I think what's happening, and we're waiting for Mike to sign off on it tomorrow, is that those EV stations are now part of parks and sustainability. And what's really funny is I went upstairs to grab those bags. There's a whole bunch of T-shirts that say parks and sustainability. It's like, see, we're not making any headway there, or we're not making any new roads. We're just coming up with ideas that somebody else already came up with.
Parks and sustainability.
I have T-shirts that say parks and sustainability.
Oh, cool.
Should I go see if there's 4 of them?
I'd like to see.
We got sustainability T-shirts when we worked on the roundabout with the Parks Board.
I didn't see you on the roundabout on Saturday.
I wasn't here on that.
Oh, 2 years ago, when.
Several years ago when we
Yeah.
did all the planting.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, so Dave, in the past, streetlights have paid for the EV chargers.
That is correct.
So now,
It's now the electric bill going to parks is where that's gonna come from.
now Parks will pay.
Correct. And so what we did for that sustainability stuff is it's parks and sustainability, I think is how it's gonna end
Oh,
up.
okay.
And so basically,
Because we don't.
whether it gets used, one or the other, basically it's a common goal.
Which makes sense, because Parks actually manages budget, where we don't.
Well, and to be clear, Parks doesn't manage budget any more than you manage budget. Neither one of them can write checks. So
Right.
Parks can make recommendations to the
Yeah.
Public Works Director. this is how we'd like you to spend some of that money that's been set aside for these purposes. You guys can make suggestions and recommendations for how you'd like to see that money get spent, which is what Alan did the other day at the meeting. He said, these are some things Sustainability Board would like to encourage the city to build into its budget. So it's not like a sustainability budget, you have $1,000 every year. There may be one year that you spend $9,000 and the next year you spend nothing. And so it's not we don't want to create that culture of spend it or lose it. What we want to do is create that culture of, if there's something that makes sense to do it, let's do it.
Okay,
And
so-
be opportunistic as we do it.
So it'd be within parks and sustainability, that makes sense, that does make sense. Especially with EV chargers and lights and everything.
And that was one of the hard things, because that parking lot didn't really show up as a park, but everything around it
Yeah,
is kind of, I mean, what it is a city-funded gas station for electric vehicles, you
Yeah.
know?
I
But,
wonder if it makes sense to move towards a line item for EV chargers, especially for.
and we've had that conversation, and we talked to it with the auditors, and they didn't necessarily see a point in doing it right now.
Okay,
So they just kind of made they said, you've got streets, electric, and parks, pick the most appropriate spot and stick it in there. And like I said, at that point, it's just part of lights is how it shows up, is part of our light bill.
So that brings up the last, and maybe this has been answered, but the last thing under new business is Sustainability Board's 24-25 budget. So what you're saying is we will not have a specific budget, but should things arise, we will work through the channels, and correct me if I'm wrong, work through the channels, like work with, certainly Chelsea, first of all, because she's our council rep, and then work through council to say, you know, via resolutions and whatever, that these are things that we think are, essential,
Well, so let's,
desirable for our city.
prioritize.
Yeah.
so let's back up, because that's what this presenter is. This is the 24-25 budget from the Sustainability Board. So again, we don't write a check to sustainability, but we have projects that we do, and we say, are we taking this sustainable? So we're buying a new vac truck. Do they make electric vac trucks? No. Okay, that's not gonna happen. But it's really a mentality that goes into everything that we do. But these projects here about repairing an EV charger and stenciling and doing a solar car part at the EV station, those are projects with a sustainability focus on them. But that's $9,000, not $1,000.
Right, well, and I think too, like, to your point, I think you have an opportunity with, you know, working with Chelsea and like, obviously Dave, and then myself being on the resort tax committee, as we hear things that come up that, you know, Dave's point, like, sustainability just needs to be in our heads and making sure that those come through. And so if things come out of this meeting, we need to be going back to the council members saying, hey, watch for these opportunities in the budget, so that, or these projects, or when these things come up, these are the things we need to consider and need to be budgeted for when those things do come up. So it's not an afterthought.
And so, like, we have police cars that are in the budget. The conversation came up, does it make sense and is it practical to get an electric vehicle for the police department? No. As they looked at public works, does it make sense to get an EV vehicle for that? They came back and said no. But it's, like I said, it's, to borrow your word, it's just part of our thought process and part of our.
Okay.
And just to kind of echo that a little bit, I will say that has been a large part of the Public Works Committee when we do have those conversations of things that are happening. How can we bring sustainability into that and build that into the culture? So I think Mike Maples has been really helpful in that regard, and Alan has been really good about working with Mike Maples about just making sure that when the opportunities come up, we're aware of them and figure out what feasibility we need to do as a city before we can jump forward with it. But it is absolutely becoming more and more a part of the culture.
As long as it's on everybody's radar, you know? It may not happen immediately, rats, but may eventually happen, like the EV cars. We're not gonna give up on those.
That's fine.
We're not gonna give up on those.
And they're gonna continue to improve.
Exactly, exactly. So, but we want to keep it on everybody's radar, so if you read information about EV cars, or I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
EV cars and, or trucks or buses or whatever, that there, it's on our radar, and we'll look at other places akin to Red Lodge to know that, to find out if it's feasible or not.
But we're not gonna start out and say, let's go buy an EV car. We're gonna say, we need a new car. Stop. Is EV a valid choice? Are you considering it amongst your options?
Right.
It's not a, we have $1,000 to spend on sustainability, what are we gonna spend it on? This is $9,000 worth of projects, which we think we can do from the city, and those are all,
Right,
that's 9 times better than $1,000.
yes, it is.
So, but it's from that other approach of what are the projects and what can we do?
Okay, that's all I had on the agenda for today. Is there anything else here that, we want to talk about or move forward with? Yay, I love a short meeting.
Yeah.
August, the summers are just nuts. I'm really proud of us for meeting all throughout the summer,
Making all sorts.
you know, because
Yeah.
summers are very, very difficult. So thanks, everybody, for being here. If there's nothing else, let's adjourn this meeting.
All
I'll
right.
make a motion.
All right.
Sure. Great. I had to do this, but it was at 4:30.
Oh, no worries. No worries.